Okay, beautiful people out there. It's your boy Prosper Michael here again at Prime Media Studio from Lagos, Nigeria to be precise. So I'm going to be solo today. Of course, my camera might be behind this camera to make sure that you get the gist of today's story. Of course, we're going to be giving you major headlines today from various media, online media platform. We'll be starting with the Chinese news platform today. And of course, the fuel subsidy issue is still on the forefront. It's biting hard on everybody right now in Nigeria as a whole. Price of items are going up. Cost of transportation is increasing. And the NLC, they are threatening strike. Government, they are saying their own and all that, a whole lot of issues here and there. So we're just going to start right away right now from the China. We saw that over 35 killed, many injured as bandits attack Sokoto community. So we saw a lot of people have been killed in that environment. The first community in Tangaza local government area of Sokoto State have been plunged into mourning following a raid by Maruda suspected to be armed bandits who killed over 35 persons, eyewitness says. So these bandits, they keep moving from one region to another and leaving blood trail all over the places. And we hope the government will be able to not pay lip service to this, be able to tackle these with all the arsenal they've got, because these guys, they are not relenting. 35 people, that's a lot of persons that were just killed, you know. So, and that happens in Sokoto State. And of course, the soldiers fit out in today. And we hope that the government will do what is necessary to ensure. So we'll move on to the next story that talked about federal government to consider TUC's demands, set up a committee to review minimum wage, to review minimum wage. So, of course, this is what the governments are planning, but I don't know how they want to go about this, because the rise in the price of fuel is so huge that even the minimum wage at 30,000 can't even handle it. So now, so this coming on the Chinese news platform that federal government to consider to use the demands. So it's being under consideration, not that they have considered it, so they're going to consider it. Maybe when the committee they done going through the demands, they will come with something that can be able to benefit everyone. So speaking to State House correspondents after a meeting between the federal government and the TUC, which lasted for about 3 hours, the spokespersons for the federal government, Dele Alake, said that it will also look at the practicability of the demands. Among things the government is considering is tax holidays for workers. Alake said that most fundamentally, President Bola Tinubu will constitute a tripartite committee to include states and organized labor and the private sector to study the dynamics of the minimum wage augmentation to reach an amicable conclusion. So that's ongoing. Of course, the next story talked about 10th Assembly, Tinubu to meet opposition lawmakers earlier today. So the battle for the National Assembly leader is still in the pipeline. That is still being discussed. Of course, moving on, we saw that subsidy NLC Sean's meeting with federal government. TUC seek to pay 6 pay rise. So TUC asking pay rise. NLC are saying that the fuel price is not practicable, that it should be reverted to the original price before any discussion, before they can sit to have any discussion. And they will know very well that the NLC have scheduled Wednesday for strike, to commence strike nationwide because of the rise in the price of fuel that it was not discussed before the price was increased from 185 naira to 488 naira at the moment. So that's a serious issue on ground, because when the price of fuel is increased, it practically affects almost everything in the market. So that is just how it is. Every price of food, clothing, everything you can think of will definitely be affected. And already, as we speak, price of items already going up. They are skyrocketing, and the transportation has already increased. So this is what the NLC are not comfortable with, and they have said, okay, since the government had decided to do this, we're going to embark on strike nationwide, and they have written letter to all the organs of the Labour Congress to commence this strike on Wednesday. So, and we hope the government will be able to listen and have a roundtable discussion with the NLC, because with what is happening right now, if strike is allowed to take place, the country, the economy will be badly affected. So the NLC are not backing down, and the federal government, they're also very their words. It's like it's so they're not going back on their words. So we'll see how it's going to go down. But of course, it's the right time for NLC to come over, because no salary right now can withstand this rise in the price of fuel. Because the place normally transport like 500 before, it's now by 1,200, and you have to pay that, and your salary hasn't changed. So this is what the NLC are saying, that the workers' minimum wage cannot cope with the current price of items and transportation in the market. So they're talking about strike. We saw that workers in shipping companies begin indefinite strike. So we see strike almost everywhere right now because of the way things are going because of the fuel rise of the fuel price and all that. So as directed by the leadership of the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria, employees of shipping companies in all ports or formations today began an indefinite strike over poor wages and alleged dehumanizing working conditions. So the industrial action is also taking place across all dry ports, jetties, terminal, among others. It was gathered that dock workers, Nigerian Port Authorities, NPA, workers and seamen, Nigeria Inland Waterways and Water Transportation employees would join from tomorrow in solidarity should the shipping company fail to address the workers' grievances. So you can see that story on the Vanguard newspaper. Of course, this story has been on. Tinubu's government is temporarily Atiku tests PDP NAS members. So of course, the battle for who takes charge of the National Assembly is ongoing. And here we see Atiku, or the People Democratic Party, saying that, why are you fighting? Why are you so in a haste to do this? The presidency, the emergence of Tinubu is temporary because the matter is a court. So the story read, the 2023 presidential candidates of the People Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, says he will reclaim his mandate from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu through court verdict. Atiku also described Tinubu's government as temporarily, adding that it was stolen in alleged electoral infractions. So the former vice president said this during a PDP stakeholders meeting for elected officials of the party in Bauchi State on Saturday. At the meeting, PDP urged its members in the National Assembly not to be rubber-stamped members of the National Assembly. So, according to article, you are there to serve as a formidable opposition to this temporary administration. Based on the results announced by the INEC and pending determination of the electoral challenges in the court, our members elect are not the majority in the National Assembly. So for the time being, they have to prepare to work as an effective, constructive opposition while also preparing for possible rules of the majority party when the cases are resolved. A government in waiting, so to speak. Okay. So yeah, it's urging the PDP members not to be distracted because the matter is in court. He says he's going to claim his mandate. Of course, we know based on the INEC declaration, PDP comes second, while becomes third in that INEC declaration. And now he's speaking tough, saying that, I think we're saying that, of course, based on how the matter is right now, pending the court verdict, the present administration right now is temporary one, so that the court will overturn this because of the overwhelming evidence that is available. So that's, if you want to see more of that story, go to Vanguard News and search for Atiku Tinubu's government temporary. You will see right there. Of course, moving on. Yeah, this story I talked about stakeholders to tackle plastic pollution across Nigeria. When we talk about plastic pollution, if you go to some environment, you will feel bad for the country and feel bad for that environment. You see plastic bottles all over the place, littering all over the place, blocking some major drainages and so on and so forth. Though we have some people that actually picking these and recycling it, but it's not enough. We see a lot of them littering all over the streets, and some area like what you are seeing this picture right now, the screen right now. So stakeholders are planning very hard to see how they can tackle this so that this does not continue. So the Food and Beverage Recycling Alliance, we Monday joined the rest of the world to mark the World Environment Day with a focus on solving the country's worsening plastic pollution problem. So it's where it's celebrated every June 5th. And this year's theme is Solution to Plastic Pollution. The Alliance, in a statement by its Executive Secretary, Agarise Onagis, said it had lined up a week of activity beginning Monday to reiterate its commitment toward reducing plastic pollution across Nigeria. So this is the mandate, and I think it's timely because the level of plastic disposed along the roads, all over the place. At times, you'll be driving, see people throwing plastic all over, through the window, on the streets, everywhere. And when, especially in this rainy season, you see plastic all over the place. So they are coming together to see how they can get rid of this plastic all over the place. Okay, so moving on. Moving on, we see PDP wants Tinubu to make asset declaration public. Yeah, I think the demand is in line with the Constitution. Every elected office holder will declare their assets, assuming position. Then, when they also leaving position, they are meant to declare their assets. It's a public, it's a practice, it's a law. So PDP, as the People Democratic Party, has called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima to make a cue to take a cue from the late President Umaru Yar'Adua by publicly declaring their assets as a demonstration of their determination to lead by example. The PDP stated this through its National Publicity Secretary, Debo Olagunamba, on Sunday. So they are asking the president to declare his assets, just for clarity, so that when he's leaving, also people will check to see if there's a huge difference, so they can answer for that. Okay. Then still on the Punch online platform, we can see here, don't set Nigeria on fire. APC chieftain tells El-Rufai. And so it reads, a chieftain of the All Progressive Congress in Plateau State, Samuel Kwamko, on Sunday cautioned former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, known to set Nigeria on fire with his utterances. Kwankwo, who is a former national director of the Christian Association of Nigeria, said this at a press conference in Jos on Sunday. He was preaching to state. He was reacting to statements allegedly credited to the former Kaduna governor, in which he allegedly told his audience before handing over to his successor that the Islamic dominance in Kaduna had been successfully replicated in Nigeria and it shall continue. El-Rufai, he alleged, equally told his audience that in the course of the electioneering campaigns, when the Christians tried to ask questions on why the Muslim ticket, he deceived them that it was not for religious dominance, when in reality the tickets both nationally and at the state level were for Islamic dominance. He alleged that in the video containing the speech which has gone viral on social media, El-Rufai further said that the victory of Bola Tinubu has silenced the Christian Association of Nigeria, adding that he will sustain an Islamic dominance government for 20 years and unending, not only in Kaduna State, but in Nigeria at large. But Kwankwo, while reacting to El-Rufai's outburst, expressed disappointment at the utterances of the former governor, noting that the classification of the citizens of his state as them versus meant that the former governor cannot be exonerated from the wanton killings, demolition of houses and places of worship of Christians in Kaduna. Kwankwo said he was surprised that El-Rufai, who was contemplated as one of the qualified persons to be appointed as the chief of staff to Mr. President or secretary to the government of the Federation, had turned himself into a confirmed religious bigot with a hidden agenda to destroy the country using religion. So he advised El-Rufai not to use his utterances to mislead Nigerians into thinking that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's electoral victory was purposely to Islamize Nigeria and nothing else. The former national director of CAN said, "Ordinarily, I have heard Islamic clerics preaching that Tinubu's Muslim ticket is in furtherance of Islamization agenda. And despite that, I am one of those who contributed in discouraging Christians and Nigerians from accepting such as true because I believe in the antecedents and character of His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu." So I think the utterance is what is being condemned because it's serious when it comes to religion. If it starts, it's difficult to control. And the utterance from El-Rufai that was created to him right now, from that, you can see that story on the Punch newspaper. And if this is true, is indeed something that can set the country on fire, because using the word they and us is division. The division, and indeed the killing that has taken place in Kaduna with this utterance can actually be attributed to the governor of that state. Because if the governor of the state can make this utterance, it means that he knows what's going on in that state. So yeah, it's on the news platform. It's on the Punch newspaper. You can see it there. Okay, moving on to the next story. We can see that 18 died in Kano crash. FRC bus warns against overloading. So a bus were so the crash occurred on Friday at Zakirai town, Kano Ringim Road in the Gabasawa local government area of Kano State, in which 18 persons were burned to death. The Corps Marshal Federal Road Safety Corps, Dauda Bill, has cautioned motorists against dangerous overtaking, overloading, and night travels, of course. So that is what he has advised everyone to take you from there. So, okay, so I think this is much we can take today. Yeah, from the various news platform. So, and of course, still on that Chinese platform, you can see that Sanwo-Olu begs NLC to abort planned strike, because that strike will be is going to determines a whole lot in the country, because people are really angry right now because the fuel subsidy removal, and also the election issues that has not really been swept under the carpet before the subsidy now entered. So, and now you can see Lagos State Governor begging the NLC to shun this strike. But the way it appears right now, the NLC doesn't behave as if they are willing to shun this strike, because they have even refused to have a further meeting with the government as of this moment. So we see how it goes. Of course, we'll be here to bring you the gist of the story as it's happening in all over the place. So you've been watching Prime Media News, and of course, it has been me, Prosper Michael, not P Square today, just P, and with James behind the camera working with us today. So hope you enjoy the tidbits, and subscribe to this channel, and please follow us as we keep giving you the story as it happen over here. So thanks for joining. Enjoy the rest of the day.